venue shopping, the idea that it's hard for someone to represent themselves when they're not in the jurisdiction where the case is that an issue here? I mean, can you talk about that, or is that only an issue when you're not a permanent resident? I'm just wondering if, I mean, it's obviously a human rights and a civil rights issue, but I mean...
So you're asking, like, whether... like
the argument wasn't really discussed about the fact that it's going to be harder for him to defend himself if he's not
right.
here.
Yeah. Look, I think one of the reasons why the government is trying to remove the case to Louisiana is to either explicitly or implicitly remove him from his family, from his legal team, and from proximity to people that support him. And I think that's a real problem. And as the lawyers who handled the argument said, that what's stopping the government from relocating Mr. Khalil again once the venue is decided to be in Louisiana. We could continue this chase over and over and over again and have to refile in multiple districts, which would just be an absurd result.
And there was also some comment made about what we're seeing with other cases where there are people being moved also, I think, to Louisiana, and whether or not it's accurate. I mean, is it accurate to say that this is retaliation, that this is intended to chill the speech of the people who are out here?
What we know from the government's own words is that the things that they are accusing Mr. Khalil for are constitutionally protected activities, including his beliefs, his ideology, and his speech. And so the government would be hard-pressed to come up with an argument that doesn't suggest that they are retaliating against him for his dissenting views.
The judge also said that one way to get around this issue would be for representatives of Mr. Khalil or anybody else who would be put into deportation proceedings to say, I'm asking for you to freeze this transport so he can't be moved a second time. Did that happen in this case? And is it happening in other cases like it?
I don't believe that's yet happened in this case. I think the bigger question is whether or not jurisdiction is appropriate here, and we think it is. I don't know if it's happening in other cases or not, but in this instance, once you decide whether or not jurisdiction is appropriate here, then we can move on to the merits, and that's the most important part, is whether or not the government is actually retaliating against our client for constitutionally protected speech.
And lastly, if this judge decides this should be a Louisiana case, is the same legal team ready to go down to Louisiana and fight?
Civil rights lawyers don't retreat. We are ready to go. We're ready to go to Louisiana or any other jurisdiction that the government tries to find its venue. We're going to be there, and we're going to support Mr. Khalil, and we're going to support anybody else that the government is trying to attack right now.
Do me a favor,